Well, hey everybody. Welcome to the live stream. I hope everyone's having a good Sunday evening. I sure as heck am. I had to be a few minutes late. I had to print off everyone's hot takes, everyone's things that they needed to give me. All your thoughts on two wonderful pages. Um, I collected them over Patreon, YouTube, Facebook. I put it out on Twitter, but nobody hit me up on Twitter. That's totally all right. Regardless, I hope everyone is having a fantastic Sunday. Disney Dork, yo, what's up? Patty, Peter, thank you for joining. Ray, thank you so much. Darth Hamilton, I've got a couple of questions from everybody. Alexandria, hello. Skylar, Khaled, I'm having a zippity doo dah day. That is for sure. I've got my group mug, and we are full of tea and ready to go for the Sunday night um, live show. Before we get going, if you've never subscribed, make sure to subscribe to our channel and give this video a like if you do like it. You don't have to like it right now, but maybe sometime later on in the video. You know, if you're like, hey, this is a good thing. This is the third time that we've done hot takes. We did one video, it's just a video. We've done it as a live stream before. I kind of like the idea of doing it as a live stream. So not only are we going to be doing more trivia for you guys, we're also going to be doing hot takes and Disney questions during these live streams. Because I think it's just easier. Because it allows you guys to jump in on some of your thoughts as well. And it allows you to give me some new questions as we go along, or some hot takes as we go along. Gotta clean my glasses here for a sec. Hold on. But yeah, let's jump into it. If you're a patron, your Patreon question always gets added to one of these things. I don't know why I can't speak this evening. It always gets added to the top of our list. So without further ado, let's jump into some hot takes. And I got the Patreon one. Dano, hello, welcome. He does toy reviews and more. He also gave me a question for this thing. So, or I guess a hot take. Amy, sup? I'm ready to do this, guys. Let's do this. So the first one from Patreon comes from Brittany, and she said The Phantom Menace is a fun, entertaining movie that gets way too much hate from the Star Wars community. It introduced some of the best characters in the series, including Padme, Qui-Gon, and Darth Maul. The Phantom Menace also has one of the most epic lightsaber battles in any Star Wars movie. Plus, John Williams' score is iconic. Duel of the Fates takes my breath away every time. Yeah. Oh, Ray, you could submit your answers on Patreon if you want, but you did it on Facebook, so it'll be later. So Phantom Menace was the first, and this is going to be a hot take for me, is the first Star Wars movie I ever saw. I actually didn't go back and watch the original trilogy until after the prequel trilogy. But I do like the Phantom Menace. I like a lot of aspects of it. Pod racing, I think, is awesome. I don't know if it looks great in 2019. I think that was actually a problem for a lot of people, was the lack of practical effects and use of more digital effects. That was a Lucas idea. He went back and before the prequels, he went back and changed the original trilogy to add more digital effects. And I think people were upset with that. And then, you know, you have the beginning of Phantom Menace with Jar Jar Binks and this whole entire race of people, and it's all CGI. And I think that is a huge turnoff to people. But pod racing, I agree with you, Qui-Gon, Padme. I even like young Anakin. I know. Darth Maul, of course, is amazing. I actually think Darth Maul is the best villain in all of Star Wars. I was so happy to see him in Solo, and I have not gotten to the animated series. I know that he is in them, so it's actually the reason that I kind of want to get to the animated series. Darth Maul, Ray Park is fantastic. He's the reason I also liked the original X-Men film. Toad is awesome. Uh, what do you guys say? Um, Alexandria says better than she remembered. Amy wants a mood. Phantom Menace good. Okay, Darth Hamilton. Always thought it was a good movie. Queen's Shadow, the new Padme novel, added a lot. Interesting. Novels these days are actually adding a lot to movies. I know Shannon um, read Higher, Further, Faster before Captain Marvel came out, and after talking with her about it, I think a lot of the aspects of the book make the movie better. So if you didn't care for Captain Marvel, and I know some people don't, maybe go read the book and maybe you'll get a better appreciation and understanding of who Carol Danvers is and why she becomes Captain Marvel. I have a better understanding and I appreciate it. So thanks to Shannon for that one. Um, Darth Hamilton, Vader is the best. I mean, Vader is iconic for sure. Although Darth Maul is the better fighter. Just my opinion. Alex says, I felt like the Leia book added a lot to The Last Jedi for me also. All these books just adding. Go read some books, people. All right, we got a lot to cover, so let's get going here. YouTube, I got a couple of people that sent me stuff on here. Darth Hamilton, he's in the chat. He said, if you could watch only Disney, Pixar, Marvel, or Star Wars movies, which would you choose and why? Only one. I'm going to assume from everything. Ray, maybe he can chime in here. Assume only one from all of those. I would also include like the Muppets, anything that's under like their umbrella at this point. I would choose Toy Story. A lot of the stuff that's on the wall here are Toy Story things. A lot of people know that I love The Three Caballeros. It's my favorite Disney animated film. However, Toy Story is epic. It changed my life. It's the reason I love animation. It's probably the reason that I'm doing a Disney YouTube channel and a Disney podcast series. Toy Story, hands down, fantastic film. I'd love to know what you guys, if you could only watch one, what would it be? Starlight Glimmer Earl asks, does Goofy's portrayal in the Goofy movie make him a better character than Donald and Mickey? It makes Goofy the most well-rounded character. It makes him the most relatable character, especially as an adult looking back and seeing that he just wants to be cool for his son. He just wants to be a good dad. Mickey is the always optimist. Mickey is just not human. I mean, obviously he's a mouse, but like he doesn't have the human traits that we all have, right? If you were going to compare Mickey to anybody, you would compare him to like Joy. But to be human, you need to have all of those different traits from Inside Out and more. Donald, I think, is a really good character. I really love Donald. I think he's my favorite of all of the Sensational Six, which is Mickey, Donald, Daisy, Minnie, Pluto, and Goofy. But Goofy from Goof Troop, as well as from a Goofy movie. I never saw Extremely Goofy movie. Sorry, everybody. I would say that he is the most well-rounded, most relatable character of all of them. Yeah. Amy said she'd choose The Little Mermaid, and Darth Hamilton said he'd choose The Incredibles for all the same reasons. I chose Toy Story. There's always one film that gets you into it, you know? Chad Hawksworth on YouTube also asks, memory of Disney Toon Studios. That would actually go back to a Goofy movie. I remember like watching a lot of the Disney afternoon stuff from the 1990s, and they would have subsequent movies. I know there's a DuckTales one, there's a Goofy movie, and a couple others, and then it kind of fell off the map for me. Disney Toons didn't really do the Disney sequels, the animated sequels, but they did eventually do Planes and stuff like that. So they did pop back up for a little while before disbanding completely. But a Goofy movie for sure. Ray, Tailspin's my jam for sure. Agree with that. Opinions on Disney TV shows. I'm gonna assume like Disney Channel and things like that. I really like a lot of Disney animated television, and they're kind of having like this new revival of Disney television right now. Um, sorry, everybody. This kind of like revival of Disney television right now with so many different shows like Tangled, Big Hero 6, all of the Marvel shows. There's a lot of great animated TV. I'm not a huge fan of the live action Disney Channel stuff. I've never really been, even when I was a kid. I much prefer Disney television to be animated. Just my opinion. And then he said opinions on Disney remakes. I'm assuming the live action remakes. I'm going to get to that one here in a few because Dano actually asked me that one. But let's jump over to Facebook. I didn't get any. I didn't get any Twitter ones. So with that being said, we're going to jump right into Facebook, and I'm going to turn off my phone here. I apologize, everyone. Facebook questions. Blake Bickerstaff says, if Disney Plus doesn't have every sing-along songs volume, I'm considering this a failure. I don't know if a lot of you had like the VHS or DVD Disney sing-alongs. This is something that they definitely won't have on the Disney Plus. Obviously, he was kind of joking, a wink and a nod. But I will say they could have something like that. They could, have like a streaming service that could have some kind of karaoke element to it, I guess, that would like be interesting and people could get into and be like, hey, have a karaoke Disney night at your house thanks to Disney Plus. I could definitely see them doing something like that in the same way that like Hulu now has live sports games. You can only get your live sports here. Like Disney, you can get like Disney karaoke here. It's like a specialty attraction that comes with Disney Plus. Would you guys have the the Disney karaoke night if you had Disney Plus? Just curious. I think I would. Amy said the new DuckTales series gives Donald a lot of dad moments. Yeah, it actually really does. Donald continues to be a character that like not just like grows as a character, but like over time the different adaptations of who Donald is changes depending on who's animating him and who's writing him. And I really like that. Mickey consistently stays like the forever optimist. Goofy has pretty much consistently stayed goofy, even in kind of like the gross goofiness that he is now in the animated shorts. But like Goofy movie, Goof Troop period, Goofy was like the most relatable to me. Even Donald DuckTales like now, I would say Goof Troop, Goofy movie version of Goofy is the most relatable, my opinion. Ray said he would totally do karaoke. Dorothy Hamilton, Disney Plus is the streaming service. Yes, it is the streaming service. They announced that name a little while back. All right, moving on. JJ Neiman asks, why is Captain Marvel so slow to the party with a name like Marvel? You'd think she'd be the first superhero of the Marvel Universe. Here's an interesting fact. The MCU, the Marvel Cinematic Universe, started before Carol Danvers became Captain Marvel. In the comics, she goes from Miss Marvel to Captain Marvel in 2012. And so I don't know if they held off on having a Captain Marvel because in the comics they knew that they needed to get to a certain point before they could introduce a character like that into the realm of the MCU. They could have totally just done away with something different. I know a lot of people don't care for Carol Danvers coming in kind of last minute to save everyone, and by all means, we don't know. We don't know if she's going to save everyone or not in Endgame, but a lot of people are speculating that she's coming in to save the day in Endgame. I personally really liked Captain Marvel, and I would have actually liked to have seen her sooner than we do. So I agree. I would like to have seen that character even as Miss Marvel. I think if you would have brought her in as Miss Marvel, like in Phase 2 or something like that, possibilities. Chad Huxworth, what is this live stream about? I answered one of your questions already. This live stream is hot takes and Q&A. I took everybody's hot takes and questions, and I'm answering them right now. So if you rewind a little bit, you will see your question answered. Ray says, if the MCU started with Captain Marvel, it would have been direct to video. I'm not saying it's Ray, but it's real. I disagree with that. I think that Captain Marvel or Miss Marvel, if you would have done Miss Marvel, would have gone over really well. I think right now there's a lot of like weird hate for no reason on Captain Marvel. I don't think it's the best movie in the whole cinematic universe, but it was a pretty solid addition. So if you didn't see it, go see it. All right. Greg Gilbert asks, does anyone think Disney Plus streaming service will have Song of the South? I saw it in theaters in the 80s and remember really enjoying it. Well, no, I do not think that it will have Song of the South. They said that they would open up the vault and that like every film from their catalog would be on the streaming service, but Disney Plus is going to be family friendly, and I don't think that they want the backlash that would come with Song of the South being watched by like 8-year-olds. So no, it is not going to be on there. People will still not know why the characters from Song of the South are in Splash Mountain. People will never understand how Brer Rabbit, where that character came from, why he's connected to a southern plantation slave. People will understand, but you could find the film if you want to find the film. I've seen it on YouTube. The first time I ever watched it was on YouTube. So yeah. Alex said, I hope to see some movies they show on TCM though. Yeah, I would actually prefer. I know they're gonna have all the animated catalog, but I'd actually like to see some of the old live action films from like the 50s and 60s, and some of those like Walt Disney hosted specials about Disneyland or about the studio and things like that. I'm really excited to see some of that stuff if it ends up on there. How did I come across Song of the South? I actually just looked it up. Like if you type in YouTube, like Song of the South full movie or something like that, like a really crappy quality of it will come up, but you can watch the film if you really want to. If you want to find it, it is out there, I promise. Yeah. Darth Hamilton says, so Disney Plus is going to have all the Disney animated movies and Disney-owned franchises. They've said so, that they're opening up the vault and not keeping anything in the vault anymore. At least that means it will be all of the Disney classic animated films from Snow White all the way up until, I mean, I guess you could put Ralph Breaks the Internet on there. They've said that they're going to be adding all the Star Wars, Lucasfilm stuff, Marvel and Pixar. I don't know if that means everything from Fox yet, and I don't know what else that means from the back catalog of Disney, but we are also getting some new series and some new films from Disney's streaming service as well. So all that stuff is coming. Yeah. Anyways, Mike Farham said, why is Rise of the Resistance not available on opening day? In case you're not aware, Galaxy's Edge at Disneyland is opening May 31st. Over in Orlando, it's opening up on August 28th. Galaxy's Edge, being the Star Wars land, has 2 attractions. One is Smuggler's Run, where you get to be on the Millennium Falcon, and you get to fly the Millennium Falcon. You get to man the guns of the Millennium Falcon, and that will open up with the land on those respective dates. Rise of the Resistance is another attraction that is more attached to the sequel trilogy. Rey, Finn, who else is? I think everybody's in it. Poe's in it, BB-8's in it, and Kylo's in it. And I don't know if anyone else is in it. But those characters are going to be in that attraction, and it's going to be more like this kind of dark ride experience. But it's going to be opening later than the actual land is opening. So he asks, why is Rise of the Resistance not available on opening day? I don't know. I can speculate for you. I can say that it's just not done yet. Shannon thinks that there are possible rumors to and spoilers to episode 9 within the attraction, so they want to wait until episode 9 comes out. Excuse me. You could also say that they're trying to fix problems and make sure that everything is okay so that it doesn't break down on opening day. You could also say that they want the land to not be bombarded with people on opening day, so they want to kind of phase things in slowly that would allow crowds to maybe not be so anxious to go on day one. All these possibilities. All these possibilities. Alex said hardcore fans will make 2 trips. More money for Disney. And if you're a local, more money for them. Is anybody going to Galaxy's Edge like this summer at Disneyland, or I guess in the fall for Orlando? If I was still living in Anaheim, I definitely would be. I would definitely be over at Galaxy's Edge like daily. I don't even want to ride any rides. I just want to be in the atmosphere. I just want to hang out. That's a true fan. That's a true Disneyland fan. Somebody who just goes and hangs out and does nothing. Amy said, I wish I'm from Australia. You should definitely go then. Maybe not this time around. I'd actually say go to Orlando. That way you get the best Universal experience. You also get the best Disney World experience. There's certain things that aren't at Disney World, Disneyland, but still, a lot of cool stuff to do there. Anyways, let's jump on. Daniel Flores says, the live action remakes are unnecessary and gross looking. Turned me off of Disney movies, whereas I was once someone who never missed a new Disney release. It feels like there just aren't any more good public domain stories for them to milk. They aren't creative enough to create their own, and so they've just been rehashing their own library. Pixar isn't included in this opinion. They are at least pushing new ideas, pushing forward with newer ideas. I've been hit or miss with the live action remakes. I don't want to say that they've all been bad. Cinderella to me was a really good story. I do like Beauty and the Beast. I wasn't as big on the Jungle Book. I really don't care for Maleficent, although Angie does love Maleficent, so it's up to his or her. Alice in Wonderland, I feel like most everyone doesn't like those 2 films. Dumbo's coming out. We've got Aladdin coming out. We've got Ling. I think that the new stories that they are putting out are pretty good. Zootopia was an original story that I actually really love. I would put Zootopia in like my top 5 Disney animated movies of all time. But Dano just said they aren't great. Yeah, they're not like, I would never like go out of my way to say like the best movie I've seen like this year was a Disney live action remake. Whereas I would go out of my way to say like one of the best films I've ever seen of the year was like a Disney animated film. I just think at this point in time though, Disney is so inflated with so many different products with Marvel and Star Wars, Pixar, Muppets, the possible Fox deal, the other live action films they're doing, the animated films they're doing, that I don't really feel like they can fire on all cylinders all the time. And that's when you have films like Tomorrowland. That's when you have the live action films. That's when you have John Carter's and things like that. Either they are really great films but don't get the marketing that they deserve, or they're like a B level film. Not like a B level like bad B horror movie, but like instead of an A, it's like a B. It's like, okay, this was good. I'm glad I spent my money, but it's not like anything that I'm gonna ride home about. You know? Zootopia was best, but that was like literally years ago. Yeah, that's true. I'm sorry, I just like slobbered on myself. And yes, Dumbo actually does look really great, although Aladdin looks not great, and The Lion King could either be awesome or go horribly. So we'll see. You know, yeah. Yeah, we'll see where that goes. Dan also said, also speaking of Pixar, here's a hot take. Cars 2 was a really good James Bond style film. It wasn't a great Cars movie, But in the context of the late 60s and 70s Bond films, it's great and it fits the checklist of a Bond film perfectly. That is true. However, I don't feel like they marketed it that way. Again, marketing kind of is everything for certain films. Um, for example, like a couple of years ago, Mother came out, and everybody thought it came out in October. Everybody thought it was a crazy horror movie. Turned about to be more of like this biblical art film, and I really like that film, but a lot of people don't because it was marketed just the wrong way. And I think Cars 2 could have been a better film had it been marketed well. And I think just people really despise Larry the Cable Guy at this point, to be honest. All right. Um, well, let's keep going here. J.J. Neiman also chimed in and said, "What happened to Goofy and Pluto? I don't see them a lot anymore, and I miss their lovable idiocy." The truth of the matter is, you don't really see a lot of the Sensational Six anymore. DuckTales is out, so obviously you get Donald. Um, Mickey and Minnie are just kind of always in the pop culture fandom. Daisy's always been kind of relegated to a side character, which I hate. Love Daisy. But Pluto and Goofy have really become super minor characters in recent years. The kind of new Goofy that the Mickey shorts have, people don't really care for him that much. And the shorts with Pluto are fantastic, but there's not enough of Pluto. So I don't know what they're going to do with those characters. Truthfully, I don't know what they were going to do with any of those characters like 5, 6 years ago when they came out with these new shorts. So at least they are keeping them alive in some way. DuckTales is keeping Donald alive, and of course, like Huey, Dewey, Louie, and Scrooge, Webby. But yeah, anyways, there's that. Um, guys, yeah, a lot of people are saying stuff. Jens said, "I'm still waiting for them to do Oswald. Why have they been holding back so much with reintroducing them?" He has been in, I think, 1 or 2 Mickey shorts, and made cameo appearances. But yeah, bring back Oswald for sure. 100% agree. Ray hates the way the new Goofy is drawn. I actually really I like the way the new Goofy looks. I like the different take on all the characters personally, including Goofy. But teach their own, man. Teach their own. Matthew Parrish on Facebook asks, which Disney films / shorts will be left off of the streaming service? This is a good question because we can talk about some of this out there, but I do think that any of the World War II propaganda shorts that they made, the Fear's Face, a couple other ones with Donald Duck, I don't feel like they will make it. I would be interested to see if they actually put like all the shorts in blocks, or if you can watch just an individual short. But I don't think any of the World War II stuff will make it into any of those blocks or individual shorts on the streaming service. As far as other films that I could see them not doing, I would go back to kind of that same time period of like The Reluctant Dragon probably will not be on there. Victory Through Air Power will probably not be on there. Beyond that, I think they'll probably add most everything else. That's just my vibes. But we'll see as we get closer. Shorts wise though, I hope they add as much as they can, and I hope all the Pixar shorts are on there. Again, whether it's in a block or individually. I know the Spark shorts will be on there, which have been fantastic. Go to Pixar's YouTube channel if you've not seen some of the Spark shorts. There's 3 of them up there now. They're all beautifully animated and all really great stories with a social message. They're fantastic. Josh Combs said, I do have a few questions for you, but I would also like to talk to you about some of the things one-on-one on our podcasts. I would also be fun to go back and see what we got right about Galaxy's Edge. If you don't know, Josh Combs is a part of the podcast Star Wars After Hours. I was on his show where we were talking about Galaxy's Edge and what was coming and what we speculated coming. So it would be fun to go back and check out those things. But go check out Star Wars After Hours, and by that, also Matt Parrish is from Whataway Radio. Go check out Whataway Radio, another great podcast. All kinds of great Disney podcasts. Ray, he's in the chat. He asked me, what are the odds that people freaking out about how much earlier Galaxy's Edge is opening than expected, or only opening one attraction, and their insistence that they are going to avoid the land will lead to a relatively reasonable opening weekend? Uh, yeah, man. I mean, you can go and you can try, but I don't think that's happening. They've actually have said that they are going to implement a reservation service, which, if that goes over well, if they announce more details about it, the reservation service will be just like a dining reservation, where they'll only allow a certain amount of people into Galaxy's Edge at a certain time. If you've been to Universal Orlando and you've ridden the train from one of the parks to the other, the Harry Potter train from one park to the other, uh, then then you know how that kind of works, where they stop you like right at the beginning of that attraction, or right at kind of like the walkway, and they either scan your ticket at Universal Orlando, or I guess at Disney they would scan the app, or I guess your wristband, depending. I like that idea of kind of having a reservation time to go into Star Wars Galaxy's Edge, um, and just like reserving a day like there. I think that's a brilliant idea on Disney's part, and I hope they continue it for maybe, I don't know, the next 6 months at least, maybe till the end of the year. Especially for locals at Disneyland, I feel like some people just need to have like a day where they go in and not get in every day, not take up the park all the time. All right, Jay from the Story Geeks podcast, also a great podcast. Check them out. He said one. Uh, he asked, one, be at Galaxy's Edge on opening day with a plaid, giving you front row access and everything. By the way, a plaid refers to the people that actually wear plaid, which are like guest services people. So if you've never been to the parks, you can hire a person that wears a plaid uniform, and they will get you front row access to things, and give you tips and tricks and tell you history of the park. They're quite expensive to have basically an entourage for the day, but if you get one, you've got front of the line access for everything. So, Jay Shear said, have a plaid on opening day at Galaxy's Edge, or go back to the early 2000s, or I guess even earlier, where midweek crowd levels at Disneyland were easy. Were easy to come by. But obviously, you couldn't go to Galaxy's Edge. I would actually go with the number 2. I don't necessarily need Galaxy's Edge, but I would like to go to Disneyland, or even Walt Disney World for that matter, on any given day where I didn't feel like I was going to have a panic attack because of the amount of people that are there. When I was living in Anaheim, I lived there for about 2 years, and I went a lot to Disneyland, and I would spend the first 3 hours of the park, or the last 3 hours of the park. Spending a whole day at the park and being in the midday crowds was exhausting and daunting. The lines were long. During the summer, when it was really hot and there were a lot of people around, it would not be very hard to just like pass out. So I would go back to being able to spend a whole day at Disneyland without feeling like I need to have a panic attack. That's just me. That's just me. Let me go back through some of these things that you guys have said, because I am excited to hear what you guys have been saying. Chad said, I feel if they didn't show anything in the trailer, people wouldn't have been so hyped for the movie. Chad said, have you seen Ralph Breaks the Internet's Disney Princess scene? If you have, do you feel like they gave too much away in the trailers? Yes. I saw the Disney Princess scene at the D23 Expo like a year and a half before Ralph Breaks the Internet came out, and I legitimately said, if they put this in the trailers, that they have ruined the film, because this is probably the best part of the entire film. Now, going back, I do think like majority of the princess stuff is some of the best stuff in Ralph Breaks the Internet, and they gave away far too much in the trailer. And Angie and I talked about this on an old episode of Modern Mouse Radio. You can go back and listen to it on our podcast feed at network1901.com. Um, we talked about movie trailers and about them giving away too much, and it seems like nowadays they just give so much of the best stuff away in hopes that you'll come see the film, that by doing so, I'm disappointed by the end of the film because I already got those highlights for free. So why pay the $10 to go see a movie when I feel like I could kind of watch a highlight clip of the film and get the gist of it and be fine. And I think in that way, that's why Ralph Breaks the Internet wasn't as great of a film to me personally. Yeah. Do we know if Disney Plus will be available internationally? That's a good question. I do not know, Amy, if it will be available in Australia or anywhere else internationally. I know that the UK has had their own Disney streaming service for about 2 years now, 2 or 3 years now, and it's not widened out. But I do think that that was a start to maybe trying to do something more like the Disney Plus app or the Disney Plus service that will allow people to eventually have just a bunch of countries all around the world. And I feel like if it's successful here in the U.S., it'll go to Canada and the U.K. and Australia and a bunch of other English-speaking countries, and then it'll eventually become wider and wider as they add in more languages. So I don't think you'll get it initially at the end of this year, but I would say probably in 2020 if it goes as well. I would say 2020. Look out for that Disney Plus service in Australia. Um, and Alex, you'll get it. You get it in Canada. Don't you worry about it. Also, I'm really sad that you don't have a Disney store in Australia. I'm so sorry. You just gotta leave and go, somewhere else. Dursa, going back to the shorts, as someone who is not a fan of Frozen, I love the Frozen short that they played before Coco. When I went to go see Coco, I actually saw it at the Disney with all the Disney people from the Disney studios, which was cool. And I'm not just bragging. There is a point to the story, but like everybody that worked on the film was in the audience, but because everybody was there for Coco, I never got to see the short, so I never got to see the Frozen short that came before Coco, because they were just legitimately there to see Coco and to ask questions and to talk about it and to kind of be there for that. So, yeah. Ray said he is going to opening day Galaxy's Edge. I wish you the best of luck. Chan asks, do you have hope for that new Muppet show on Disney streaming service, Disney Plus? I do have hope for it. I do have hope that the Muppets will be living onward. I know that they've done some other cool stuff recently. They've done some live shows at the Hollywood Bowl. They've done a couple of other like concert shows. I love that. I love that they've kind of expanded and done other things. They've got their YouTube channel where they post little funny shorts from time to time. So, yeah. I think the Muppets will be all right on the Disney streaming service, and I think a lot of the guys that have taken over a lot of the Muppet characters, some of the Muppeteers, have kind of owned their craft over the past few years doing different things. And as long as they don't try and like copy The Office or some other kind of comedy on television right now, excuse me, I think that they'll be okay. Alex said, I love the Liberty Square Muppets show. Yes, it's fantastic. I've seen both shows. I watched them back to back. Like I stayed in Liberty Square, waited for the second show because, and that was like the highlight of my last trip. For sure. Oh, you watched the short online later, Jonathan Hamilton? I gotta go back and watch that one. We'll see. Do you have hope? Okay, you said that. Okay. Do you think that Toy Story 4 is going to be better than Avengers Endgame or the other way around? Hands down, Avengers Endgame is going to be better than Toy Story 4. And I'm a huge Toy Story fan. I love Toy Story 1, 2, and 3, but I still am really, really pessimistic about Toy Story 4. I'm hoping that it's gonna be okay, but I just don't know, man. I just don't know. We'll see. And Dumbo, I'm actually really excited for. I think the live action Dumbo looks good. I'm gonna buy tickets pretty soon to go see Jordan Peele's Us on March 22nd, and I'll shortly be seeing Dumbo right after that. So this month I'll have seen Captain Marvel, Us, and Dumbo, and then I'll go see Endgame next month, and everything will be amazing. I'm super excited about it. Anyways, thank you guys for hanging out with me. Went a little bit long, like we always do, but I'm glad that you enjoyed this. If you enjoy the hot takes kind of Disney questions style of show, give this a thumbs up. Give this a like. If you're new to the channel, subscribe. And thank you guys for checking out everything we do. Go to network1901.com. We've got new t-shirts up over there in our merch store. We've also got different podcasts coming out all the time. And we've got the YouTube channel. But if you go to network1901.com, everything's there. And if you want to, just check out whatever, come by sometime. We have new videos going up on Tuesdays, live shows on Sundays, so that's fun. Last but not least, Hansen, are you looking forward to seeing Star Wars Episode 9? Of course I am. I'm super stoked for it. But I do think I'm more interested in Avengers Endgame than I am in Episode 9. Sorry, Shannon. I know Shannon's probably not watching this right now, but she would definitely say Episode 9. I'm definitely going to say Endgame. I might even say Frozen 2. I'm interested in seeing Frozen 2 now that that trailer is out. But thank you guys for watching. I appreciate it. Again, if you like this kind of style of format, doing the Disney questions and hot takes, leave a comment down below of this video, or hit me up in the live chat and be like, yeah, I really liked this, or can't wait till the next time we do trivia or something like that. We're trying to figure out what's best for all these live streams and what we should do with them, and have more of a thing to do each time. So with that being said, thank you guys so much. I appreciate it so much. And until the next time, guys, keep on moving, people.